Welcome to the Rago Fabrication install series. Today we're going to be installing our Rago Fabrication ARB air compressor mount on this 5th Gen 4Runner. The mounting on other vehicles such as the GX and the FJ Cruiser and Toyota SUVs are very similar to this one. If you have those vehicles, the process is exactly the same. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of the tools that's going to take to install this. You're going to need a 14 millimeter open end wrench. You're probably going to want a 1/4 inch drive ratchet set with the 11 millimeter deep socket. You could get an 11 millimeter open end wrench. It'll just take you a little bit longer. You're going to want a 5 millimeter Allen wrench, as well as a 6 millimeter by 1.0 tap. Now, to start this install, I want to show you that everything on our mount is going to be assembled on the bench. That includes the switch pros if you have it. You can mount it on the top, or you can mount it at the bottom, or if you want 2 switch pros, you can mount one at the top as well as the bottom. If you have other accessories that you want to mount underneath on here, you can do that also. You will go ahead and mount the ARB onto this platform already, as well as the whole Wi-Fi air system setup is going to be pre-installed already. This is very easy. You do everything on the bench. You can see that this is fairly tight. This is held in by compression, so when you tighten up this side and you tighten up this air fitting, it holds it in place, as well as these 2 bolts down here. Now, to install this, we're going to simply pre-install these bolts into the factory bolt locations on my right hand side in this fender well. And we're also going to install these 3 6 millimeter bolts underneath up through the fender, and then simply slide this into place. There's a slot here that these bolts are going to be in the fender, and they're going to slide through like that. And then you're going to go ahead and tighten them in place through the vehicle. So let's start that process. To start this process, what we're going to do is we're going to grab our 2 8 millimeter bolts that come in the kit. We're going to find these 2 bolt hole locations down here where our relay holder used to be. And we're going to simply just thread them in, not all the way, to the point where there's at least a 1/2 inch of the bolt sticking out, because we're going to slide our bracket onto there. Now they're sticking out 1/2 inch. And when you come and look down this fender, you're going to see a 3-hole pattern down here that they're threaded. It kind of looks like a tri-shape, like a bowling ball holes. Most of the time there's little pebbles and rocks in there, and what you want to do is get a pick, something sharp, and poke those pebbles out. The next step is get some WD-40 and get your 6 millimeter tap. And this is just precautionary, simply because if you cross thread those, because there's too much dirt and debris in there, it's just gonna make your life miserable. Go ahead, pick you up a tap. They're fairly inexpensive. It's 6 millimeter by 1.0. And you're gonna go ahead and shoot some WD-40 or lube in there, or whatever you got on hand, doesn't really matter. And run a tap through those holes. You can use vice grips to hold the top, whatever it takes. It's good. If you don't have a tap adapter, those T-handles, just grab whatever you got. It's just, the threads there, we're not making new threads, we're just cleaning them up for the dirt. I went ahead and did that ahead of time so we don't have to waste time. And the one on the left-hand side closest to the relay fuse box might be a little bit more tricky. What you can do is if you have a small open-end wrench, you can insert it through the hole, and we'll just pretend this is it, and just keep on turning it, or use this box end. It's probably like a 4 millimeter or something really small. After those threads are cleaned out, what you're going to do is you're going to take your 6mm Allen head. There's 3 of them that came in the kit. You're not going to have washers or anything. What you're going to do is go on the underneath of the fender and run these bolts up through the fender from underneath up. That's going to create a stud. In doing so, it's your option. It's not necessary. If you tighten these properly, you throw some Loctite on there and go ahead and just put them through the hole and just go ahead and tighten them up. I'm going to do that right now. It's difficult to film this area, but now we have 3 studs sticking up through the fender well. That allows our mount to slide on top, and once our mount is in there, we can install our washers and our locking nuts, and that will almost be finished to the install. Like I said, this is a very, very easy install. Everything is assembled on the bench, and by the time we get to this part, it's very simple. So now that everything is installed, all the hardware is on the vehicle, we're going to take our whole assembly. We're going to slide down, slide this to where it goes, and this little hose. Okay. We're going to slide these over these bolts. We want the washers in front of this plate. And then this bracket on the side, we're just going to slide over the studs we put in here. And that's it. So now that's slid in place, we're going to take our wrench and tighten up these screws on the side. So now that we tighten these 2 bolts, what we're going to do is add our washers and our nylon locking nuts to these 3 studs down here. If you're ever worried about those studs coming loose, what you can do is have a buddy go down there with an Allen and hold it. They shouldn't come loose, especially if you Loctited them. They should be set good to go. All you're going to get is your long 1/4" drive ratchet. And tighten those studs up. Now our Rago Fabrication dual air compressor and single air compressor mount is installed. The Wi-Fi system's still on here. We went ahead earlier, this has been previously installed, and routed our air lines to each wheel. This whole kit could be purchased at ragofabrication.com, as well as the Switch Pros. You can buy this all in a package. You can buy the Wi-Fi block individually and the airlines individually. On this particular vehicle, on the FitGen, we make specific mounting brackets for the air chucks in the wheel well. It's 100% bolt on. Those are available at ragofabrication.com also. And this pretty much concludes our install. If you have any questions, please feel free to email us at info@ragofabrication.com or call us at the shop. Our number is available on our website under contact. We'd be more than happy to assist you with install. Any questions, if you have questions after this video, please feel free to call us. We also have another video on how the system is set up, how the air release functions, how the pressure release functions, and all the Wi-Fi system. So check that out on our Rago Fabrication YouTube channel also.